Welcome to Rising Stories. I'm Corine Sandifer, and each week I interview a businesswoman or author on the show. I love peeking into the lives of these women who press in and work to build their businesses. I'm also very fascinated with authors who write novels and books. How do they do it all? What is their secret to making it all look so easy? Well, we find out right here on Rising Stories podcast. So grab a tall glass of water or your coffee or a glass of wine and listen as I interview these fascinating ladies. Before I tell you who's on the show today, I'd like for you to take a few moments and follow me on Instagram. It's by far my favorite social media outlet. I'm even posting stories, love the name, on Instagram, which are short video clips. You can find me under Corine Sandifer. I'll be doing some giveaways soon, so you don't want to miss signing up for that. Also, if you would do me a huge favor and head over to iTunes or Stitcher and leave me a review, I would really appreciate it. It does help our ratings and it helps our podcast stay alive. Today my guest is Ashiya Swan. She works as a holistic coach, Kemetic Yoga instructor, and circle facilitator. Ashiya and I talk about our weekly calendars, self-care, and of course she answers my question, what is Kemetic Yoga? Here's my conversation with Ashiya. Hi Ashiya!
Hello, Corine. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Rising Stories. It's my new podcast, and it's not so new anymore, but it's still fairly new. I mean, it's not even 1 year old, so I call it new.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate your asking me to join you today.
Yeah, I so was always interested in you. When we met at a training that we were doing, and I was like, oh, I need to know her. I want to know her, and I want to talk to her for a long time. And we for a while there, we were seeing each other a lot with some training, and then we just haven't talked in a while. So I'm glad to connect with you again, and I'm so thrilled that you decided to come on my podcast and be interviewed. And one of the things I love about you is I really noticed that you have such a great business mind. I don't know if you know that about yourself, but you do. And it was like, I need to tap into that. I want to know what's going on. And I would get bits and pieces when we would meet for training and stuff, and as facilitators, and we were but never enough time. So yay, I'm so glad that you're on the show. So tell everybody what you do and who you are.
I appreciate the compliment. I did not realize for a while that I had a business mind. So thank you for reflecting that to me. My name is Ashiya Swan, and I'm a lot of things. I began my venture into entrepreneurship as a Kemetic Yoga instructor. And then I trained as a life coach. I became a circle facilitator. And finally, this year, I trained as a doula. And so what I do is combine all of those things into self-care. I help people create presence, mainly women, but it depends on what area I'm working in. But I just help people create real presence and help them create self-care practices and rituals that really speak not just to them and to who they are, but also to the life style that they want to have and the goals that they have for themselves.
Oh man, that I need some of that. I definitely do. That is, you said something that I did not understand, that I don't know. I've heard you say this before, but what is Kemetic Yoga?
Kemetic yoga is yoga as most people know it. Mm-hmm. However, there are unique differences in the practice. For me, when I decided to train as a yoga instructor, I knew that I wanted something that I could connect to on a cultural level. And most of the programs I found did not give me that satisfaction. And when I found Kemetic yoga, I knew that was it for me. It dates back to ancient Egypt, to the time when we referred to that space as Kemet. And as I mentioned, it's the yoga that we know, but the purpose and the goal of Kemetic yoga is to move our life force. My teacher will often say, if you're not moving the life force, you're not practicing yoga. So it's approach to my Kemetic yoga practice is it's a lifestyle practice, and that's how I
Mm-hmm.
share it with my clients. So it's not just I go to a studio twice a week. I go to every day. I'm on my mat.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I'm looking at my diet as a part of my practice, and we're encouraged to eat a plant-based diet. And so really it speaks to my life on a mental, a physical, and a spiritual level. So like I said, a lot of people, when they come to a practice, they were like, well, I know what this is, but it's the way that we apply it and the way that we approach it that makes the difference.
So when you say that, so when you're saying it's just like it's a yoga class or a yoga experience, but what you're saying is they're doing poses, or is it, or do you stop in the middle of the class and say, we're going to talk about our diet today, or
Most of the diet, if someone wants to discuss their diet with me, that happens through coaching. If they
okay.
have a coaching connection with me,
Mm-hmm.
but with my actual classes, much of the classes flow in the way that a normal yoga class would flow. But I try to help people connect with the concept that their breath and their movement should be linked. And when you move in concert with the breath, you're then moving the life force throughout your body. And that life force is a healing, regenerative force.
Mm-hmm.
And so it takes us into a space where we recognize our own power for healing ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, there are poses and postures that are unique to Kemetic yoga,
Oh,
and
okay.
most people will recognize them from the temple walls in Egypt. But there is what my teacher calls the yoga skills method, meaning that the poses are recognized in other practices, but we still take that same approach to actually executing the poses and what he calls geometric progression. So we never haphazardly go into a pose. There's always a structured movement into and out of each pose with the breath.
Okay. And so do you think is this kind of going nationwide? Is this like
Um,
really big?
when I started in 2011, it was definitely not as, I'll say, popular as it is now. Although my teacher started practicing in the late 70s, and
Oh,
he
wow.
has been teaching and training since then.
Mm-hmm.
He's trained hundreds of instructors. But now I think that we're at a point where a lot of people are looking for what I looked for, which is that cultural connection. So it is
Mm-hmm.
definitely becoming more popular. I'm getting a lot more requests specifically to teach Kemetic yoga.
Oh, wow. And so you teach around town. So you've got that business where uh, are you traveling a lot? So you just do different classes, different places?
Most of the teaching that I'm doing right now is more in a private consulting
Mm-hmm.
perspective. Most people are coming to me and asking me to teach yoga for self-care to specific organizations, to their companies, to their groups. And I love that. I haven't really had the opportunity or the time to teach public classes lately because those type of opportunities have been coming to me. And I
Mm-hmm.
find that those opportunities are really about self-care and understanding that we have to care for ourselves on a spiritual and a mental level, as
Mm-hmm.
well as emotional.
Yeah, one of the things that I latched onto when we had some brief conversations when we first met was that you were like, you kind of rattled off this whole schedule to me. And I was like, what, wait. I go back. What do you do on Sundays? And I was like, I was so like into it because I'm a planner. I
Mm-hmm.
probably buy like 2 planners a year, three calendars. I've got calendars everywhere. I probably need one in my car. I'm gonna have to get one for my car. But I have like calendars and planners and now I'm into like this whole like bullet journaling, which I absolutely love, which is totally different. But you talked about self-care on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Self-care
Yes.
was Sunday. So tell me like a couple of days like that you've got the whole week. Like you teach about uh what you're doing each and every day that is in alignment with, what's going on in the world and how you're feeling and what needs to happen that day, which I absolutely love. So tell me about that a little bit.
It is actually a process I've developed over a few years, from bits and pieces from a few different teachers. One, namely, I have to give some honor and respect to is Akua Offset. She taught me a lot about just connecting with myself and understanding that as a woman, I have an energetic cycle that I need to honor and respect. So that folds into my work as a doula that I do with women. I help them to connect with their energetic cycle, their physical actual cycle, and learn on a monthly scale when is the best time to do what. And I think this is something that most women don't even consider. But once I tell them, hey, when you're on your cycle, don't press yourself. Take some time and lay back, relax. It makes sense to them, but we live in a society that doesn't make that okay. But when I combine that with what is happening in the cosmos, I'll say it that way, then I start to lay out my week. So for me, Sunday is Self-Care Sunday. Just as in the word sun, it's about the sun, and the sun gives us life. So that's the day that I've chosen to take care of myself, and to take care of my husband in any way that I can be helpful and supportive to him. Monday is known as Moon Day. And so that is the day that I take to honor my femininity and honor the things that I need. And then Tuesday really is what begins my work day. That is a day that I use to really power through admin and ops, kind of tedious work that I really, really, really don't want
I
to
like
get
that.
into.
Yeah, I like that you do that on Tuesday rather than Monday. So do you take Monday off, or do you just...
Monday, I consider it an off day. And if I need time, whatever I need, I do. So if I need to take care of me, I take care of me. If I need to catch up on work, I catch up on work.
Yeah.
So Monday is kind of like my buffer day.
Well, a lot of times, last year, sorry, and we kind of go because we still have a kid in school at home, and so we kind of go by school calendar year. And so last year, my day to kind of hit it hard in the office, in my home office, was on Monday. And I found that I was really wanting to take a day off on that day rather than just hitting it hard. I was just like, and I felt like Tuesday was more of my productive day. So I totally jive with what you're saying because that's how I feel like that's how I'm wired. Like Tuesday is much more productive than Monday. Monday's more like, of course, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's Monday. It's Monday. And so you do kind of tend to just kind of ease into it anyway, ease into the week where you're not like hitting it, just too hard. But I like that. I like that you're doing that Sunday, self-care Monday, and Tuesday. That's so cool. Yeah, we need to talk more about the rest of the week some other time. But I would love to get that whole schedule from you sometime. But tell me about the Circle Center here in Nashville. And what is that? I don't know if people understand or have heard of. Is it like it's a method, right? It's a method to do like a group coaching and group.
It can be used for group coaching and group facilitation.
Mm-hmm.
But the Circle Center is actually founded by Tracy Roberts, and I would call him my Circle mentor. He trained me about 2 years ago. I went to a Circle training only because his advertisement said ancient wisdom. Those were the 2 words I remember. And so I went.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So there's plenty of ways to facilitate a circle, but this particular pattern of facilitating circles is founded in guidelines and values. It comes from the Tagish Tlingit of the people in the Yukon region of Canada. And from what I understand, those people looked to the West and said, you've lost your way. And you don't know how to be in a good way with each other. And so here's a process that we're gifting to you to learn to be in a good way with each other again. And so initially it was used for restorative justice, but it can be adapted to suit many needs. I work in the corporate space, doing consulting with the Circle Center. And we go into agencies that really are creating a culture of self-care. It's a time that they allow their employees to come in, and we share stories. We discuss, what's going on currently. We discuss what they're dealing with at work. It's just a time for them to come together and really build what Tracy calls building bridges of empathy. And so when there's that understanding that people have of each other on a deeper, more personal level, it then can influence our productivity and how we work together as a team. Tracy and I have also worked together. We developed what was initially called a weight circle, but now we've changed the name to a mindful eating circle, and that just came through the process of being in that circle. And we also have started a racial healing circle, or we started it probably about a year ago, I think in September. And now that circle of 10 people, we're at a point where we're looking at how can we take this structure out to the world. So
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah,
needed. Yeah,
yeah. And
that's
so
awesome.
it's an awesome process. And like I said, I do sister circles. I do, any type of circle that you can think of where people have something in common, or they want to gain understanding, or they want to talk to each other. The circle process is a way to facilitate those conversations.
Yeah, that would be awesome to be in. I guess I've only been in a circle couple of times, and it's very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you think it's not because it just seems so simple, but when you're in it, it kind of has a lot of what do I say? More like, I want to say power, but that's not the right word. Just impact. It's impactful. It impacts, in a different way what you're, wanting to say to each other and what you end up saying. And it's just great. If anybody has a chance to do that, that'd be great. Cause they would really, I think you'd be surprised what you discover in
Mm-hmm.
those circles. Yeah.
I love something else that I've heard said about circle is it's a place where we realize we are more alike than we are different.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that would be very powerful for like racial reconciliation, and even just exploring
Mm-hmm.
uh, different mindset and different, what people are feeling after some of the things that have happened in our country. Uh, and it's not going to happen unless you have something like a circle, or and that it's not going to happen unless you're purposeful
Mm-hmm.
in trying to hear one another and hear feelings, and because the facts are, I think skewed everywhere. I mean, I'm not sure what's true anymore, but it's true when you're hearing someone speak and what they're
Mm-hmm.
saying and how they're
Yeah.
feeling. So
Yeah. Our
yeah, that's
stories
awesome.
speak loud and clear.
Yeah. I love the word story, obviously rising stories.
Yes.
And so I love hearing people's story, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just very, very unique to hear everyone share what is important to them, and connecting. So tell me more about a life in the day of Ashiya Swan. What do you do? Like, what does that look like?
Again, it probably depends on the day of the week and
Mm-hmm.
what week of the month I'm in.
Yeah, yeah.
um, because I do a few different things in a few different areas. I try to batch most of my clients and my tasks together. So there are weeks and days when I'm in circle most of the day. And then there are days where I'm teaching yoga. So one week I'm in business suits or, business casual. And then the next week I'm in my yoga pants. And then there are some days when I'm playing the admin role and it's me in front of my computer working on my website. So most of the days, though, I try to keep the same. I try to wake up, have some time to myself, move early in the morning. My yoga practice is best for me in the morning. I try to have just a little bit of time with my husband before he has to go to work. And then from there, I try to keep a 10 to 6 schedule and try to work within that. So I try to keep all of my clients, all of my work that I do if I'm working from home within that time frame. And then I just tend to break up that time into blocks and fill my tasks in from my planner that need to be done.
I love that. See, I knew we connected because I just want to dive into all that. I just want to dive into what you're doing and how, because I'm totally that way. I do podcasts on certain days and interviews on certain days, and then I do, I have blocks. I totally live by block sections of days. And the other day, someone challenged me to do a schedule 15 minutes at a time, and it just freaked me out. I was like, I can't do that. I love blocks because that kind of gives you a little bit of freedom, and then I'm totally like, if I have to go to the grocery store, which now we don't have to, we can just, click, click, click and just go pick something up or have it delivered. But I still go to the grocery store because I enjoy it. But if I have to do that, then I just couple it with, and piggyback everything that I have to do that's outside and just kind of really block my time rather than to be gone, running here and there and every day. It just stresses me out. It's just not fun. I love just kind of really diving in. So I'm totally there.
I think the thing with it is, and the way that I set up my daily schedule and the way that I, roll out my month, I think that all of that comes back to the fact that I used to say I'm a creature of habit, but we need ritual. We need ritual. Ritual allows us to access our excellence, as I like to say. Having that set structure and knowing what's coming when allows you to be productive, but it gives us that steady rhythm and pace in life that we need. And I think some of us crave it and need it more than others. And I found out through my work that that's what self-care can be for people, coming to their yoga class, coming to a private yoga session or coming to circle. All those things are ritual for people that kind of anchors their life. I have so many people that come in running, rushing, exhausted into a circle, and they sit down, and by the time they leave, you see all that frustration and running transmute into presence, peace, balance, and then they're able to go back out and do what they need to do. So I think that ultimately that's what it comes down to, is just that ritual that works for us and allows us to be as productive as we need to be.
I love that. That is so true. I'm one of those that just runs in, even though I kind of live in block, and I pretty much have, walk in peace, but a lot of times I am running in and just drop everything and in my yoga class, and people look at me like, you're too stressed out.
And you're like, that's why I'm here.
I know. But they're like, do not bring that energy in here, girl. I'm like, oh, sorry. Okay. So I'm calming it down. But tell me, what is the best business advice you've ever gotten? If you can pick one.
I think that I can. It wasn't direct advice to me. It's advice that Marie Forleo gave on her, or something I was watching from her. And she says that clarity comes from engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And I wholeheartedly believe that. In the beginning, I listed out a lot of things that I do, a lot of trainings I've had.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years since I've started my business, I have not been afraid to engage those things, put it out there and doing it. If it doesn't work, I take it back and I try something else. And so I think that being confident in doing that to figure out what works for me by
Mm-hmm.
engaging it has brought me to a place where now I'm very clear on what it is I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do it. Sometimes you can
Yeah,
plan, but sometimes you just got to get out there and do it.
you do. And it's I think people that are starting businesses and e-courses or online businesses and writing books, it's like it's okay to fail. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to try something and then come back to it and go, you know what, that just isn't working.
Yeah.
Or move a couple steps and then you realize, this isn't really what I wanted to do. This isn't what I wanted my life to look like. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to look a certain way, but I didn't realize that I would have to spend X amount of time, say, in front of the computer fixing your website or doing whatever. And so, um, you know, or you make amends and you say, I loved that 1 hour that I was doing that coaching, facilitating, or whatever. It's worth me sitting and doing this amount of marketing or whatever. So totally, give and take. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that's really good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. So tell me, what's your favorite app? Because I know we have talked and we're like Facebook and we're like on Twitter. And
Mm-hmm.
what's your favorite app these days?
My favorite just app in general.
Yeah, or something that's like, oh, I discovered this app and it's like awesome, and or
Um,
that one that helps you
the
the
most
most.
helpful app that I have, to be honest, is Spotify.
Oh, really?
My music playlist is everything to me.
Oh, wow.
Especially those days when I'm at home in front of my computer. Like
Hmm.
if I have the right playlist, it's just like life is good.
What playlist
Um,
do you make? Different playlists for different
I,
things,
I
different
do, and
tasks?
it just depends on what I'm feeling that I just listen to any music that makes me feel good. Like right
Hmm.
now, I'm into 80s jams.
Oh, yeah, that's me all the time.
Next week it might be Bob Marley. He's like
Yeah.
my staple. But but yeah, I just need good music to be productive. But
Hmm.
if I had to be more serious, I think that right now Trello is probably my favorite app. I'm finding that it's a good complement to my planner system because my planning system is 80% analog. It's mostly me and my paper planner, and then there
Hmm.
are some things that I feed into my phone so that I get reminders.
Hmm.
But I like Trello because it allows me to manage projects, and then when I'm collaborating with someone, we can easily collaborate and share boards and things of that nature. So
Oh, I have to look into
yeah,
that. That would be awesome to share a board and to
yeah.
connect with the organizations that I'm involved in. Um, excuse me. So what what are you reading these days? Oh, before I ask you that, I just remembered what I was going to say. Do you know that people will share their Spotify playlist? Is it Spotify? Yeah.
Yes,
Like you can
yes.
share send me your link and I'll put it on the show notes if you care
Oh,
to
okay.
share. Like I
I
would
will.
love to hear your 80s playlist. Yeah, I don't know what it's very fascinating that people are sharing they're like, "Oh, you can, check out my Spotify playlist." And it's like
And if
exciting.
I'm not mistaken, I think you can actually follow people on Spotify like you do on other social
Oh,
media
there you go.
sites too. Yeah, so
Yeah, so
I
send me
will
your
do
link.
that.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. So what are you reading? Are you a reader? I know you were a reader. Yeah.
Mhm.
What are you reading these days?
Right now I'm reading, well, there's one book that I'm always reading, and it's called Opening to Spirit by Shola Ariwa. It's kind of like my guide in what I'm doing. It's like my basis. She talks a lot about our energetic system. and the chakras. And again, she does it from a standpoint that I connect with culturally, which is why I love the book. So I'm always reading that. I'm also reading Money Love by Kate Northrup. I love this book because, and I suggest that any woman that is building her business or getting her finances in order, I suggest that they read it, because this book talks about value, and you really connect with how you create value, the way that you see money, the stories that you're living out from the way that you were raised around money. But it's definitely a good read. Plus, for me, it has a lot of exercises and journaling, which is something
like
that I love. So that's those are two that I'm currently reading right now.
That's awesome. I need to get that, Money Love. Okay, Kate Northrup. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, it'll all be in the show notes, but I do need to read that. And I find that when I do my coaching, there's a lot of as I coach small business owners and authors, they have a hard time with putting a high monetary value on what they do. And I think that's a problem. So that book sounds right up my alley. I'll have to check it out. So what 3 things are you absolutely loving these days? Something that you're like texting your girlfriends about, like, hey, you gotta get some of this.
I am absolutely loving. I eat a plant-based diet. So there are these black rice burgers that are by a company called Hillary with 1 L, and I love them. I cannot stop eating them. They are so good. And they have I try to eat things that have between 6 and 10 ingredients. If they're going to be processed or packaged. And I think that one kind of hits my sweet spot, and I'm okay with what's in it. So that's something I'm definitely loving right now.
Does it have spices?
Yes, it is very good. It is very, very good. I know most people don't like the heat, but I'm loving summer. I absolutely adore summer. I was born at the height of summer, so this is my time of the year. So I'm just enjoying being outside and being okay. And I actually enjoy sweating every now and then, mainly because I know my body is releasing and letting go.
Yes.
And outside of that, I just got back from travel and seeing my family. I am loving my niece and my nephews right now. They're growing into such unique individuals. The oldest 2 are 16 and the youngest is 2, and they're just amazing. They're absolutely amazing. And I love being their auntie and their tati. So.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Love that. What a fascinating lady. I always enjoy my time with Ashiya. Her voice is so lovely. Plus, she gets me thinking about how I will plan my days. Ever since I met her, I've been asking her to share her daily self-care plan with me, and I'm thrilled to say that she is offering every listener this free download. So head over to my show notes at CorineSandifer.com and go to Rising Stories Podcast for the link to this freebie. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram under Corine Sandifer. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat under Corine Sandifer. Thanks so much for listening to Rising Stories. Take care and keep rising in your own story.